I believe in you, my soul. The other I am must not abase itself to you, and you must not be abased to the other. Loaf with me on the grass. Loose the stop from your throat. Not words, not music or rhyme I want, not custom or lecture, not even the best. Only the lull I like, the hum of your valved voice. I mind how we lay in June, such a transparent summer morning. You settled your head athwart my hips and gently turned over upon me, and parted the shirt from my bosom bone, and plunged your tongue to my bare stripped heart, and reached till you felt my beard, and reached till you held my feet. Swiftly arose and spread around me the peace and joy and knowledge that pass all the art and argument of the earth. And I know that the hand of God is the elder hand of my own. And I know that the Spirit of God is the eldest brother of my own. And that all the men ever born are also my brothers, and the women my sisters and lovers. And that a kelson of the creation is love, and limitless are leaves, stiff or drooping in the fields, and brown ants in the little wells beneath them, and mossy scabs of the worm fence, and heaped stones, and elder, and mullein, and pokeweed. That was the 5th section of Song of Myself from Walt Whitman's incredible poem, Leaves of Grass. So this evening, thank you for joining us. Welcome to A Gray Barn Rising. I'm sitting here reading the poetry of Walt Whitman, and I wanted to begin right with his voice this evening without even an introduction. Walt Whitman is a poet that we can, unfortunately, too easily take for granted. He's a quintessential American poet. It seems like, at least in my life, he's always been there. He's always been this totem and this great, immense energy of a poet that's just there beaming down his great poetic vision. And if you have laid off Walt Whitman in a while, I highly recommend that you return to him because he writes like no one else. In fact, the great poet Pablo Neruda, some of you may know, was deeply influenced by Walt Whitman and kept a picture, a photo of Walt Whitman on his desk. And he said, you know, you Americans, you North Americans, you look for different influences, and you have Walt Whitman. You have the great Walt Whitman right in your own country, and sometimes you don't even recognize it. I want to read a little bit, just a portion of section 31. I want to read the second half of section 31. I find I incorporate gneiss and coal and long-threaded moss and fruits and grains and esculent roots, and am stuccoed with quadrupeds and birds all over, and have distanced what is behind me for good reasons, and call anything close again when I desire it. In vain the speeding or shyness, in vain the plutonic rocks send their old heat against my approach. In vain the mastodon retreats beneath its own powdered bones. In vain objects stand leagues off and assume manifold shapes. In vain the ocean settling in hollows and the great monsters lying low. In vain the buzzard houses herself with the sky. In vain the snake slides through the creepers and logs. In vain the elk takes to the inner passes of the woods. In vain the razor-billed ox sails far north to Labrador. I follow quickly, I ascend to the nest in the fissure of the cliff. I wanted to read that passage because it speaks so clearly to the geologic layers of Walt Whitman's vision. His sense of time is boundless. And of course, you know, many readers of Whitman know about his connection to animals and his connection to his human brother and sisterhood. But also there's that incredible geologic time that is part of Whitman's cosmic time, his cosmic intelligence. And I just love that portion of section 31. Bootsy's taking a little nap, but of course she's here at my side, as she always is when I read poetry in the evening, whether I film or not. My little hound dog's always here with me. Speaking of cosmic connections, huh? Okay. I'm going to close this evening with one of my very favorite passages of Walt Whitman, the closing section to his great poem, The Sleepers. And this section moves me so deeply because so much gets resolved in this poem, so much healing. Sure, he's talking about sleep. He's talking about the body withdrawing its energy from the outer, the periphery of the body, back through the central nervous system into the deep layers of superconsciousness, which is what we can experience in sleep, although sleep is really an unconscious state. But still, Whitman transforms that into something that is more superconscious in terms of the relationship of healing of all the people of the world and of all the things of the world. And this particular section of the poem I always find deeply calming and deeply healing, and just an incredibly moving section of Whitman's work. So this is, again, the final section of The Sleepers. I'm reading, by the way, from the original edition of Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass. He, as many of you know, viewers, he did revise this book, or did revise Leaves of Grass, but there's something about this original version that is still so raw and primordial that I always turn to it more than I do the revised version. The sleepers are very beautiful as they lie unclothed. They flow hand in hand over the whole earth from east to west as they lie unclothed. The Asiatic and African are hand in hand. The European and American are hand in hand. Learned and unlearned are hand in hand. And male and female are hand in hand. The bare arm of the girl crosses the bare breast of her lover. They press close without lust. His lips press her neck. The father holds his grown or ungrown son in his arms with measureless love, and the son holds the father in his arms with measureless love. The white hair of the mother shines on the white wrist of the daughter. The breath of the boy goes with the breath of the man. Friend is inarmed by friend. The scholar kisses the teacher, and the teacher kisses the scholar. The wronged is made right. The call of the slave is one with the master's call, and the master salutes the slave. The felon steps forth from the prison. The insane becomes sane. The suffering of sick persons is relieved. The sweatings and fevers stop. The throat that was unsound is sound. The lungs of the consumptive are resumed. The poor, distressed head is free. The joints of the rheumatic move as smoothly as ever and smoother than ever. Stiflings and passages open. The paralyzed become supple. The swelled and convulsed and congested awake to themselves in condition. They pass the invigoration of the night and the chemistry of the night and awake. I too pass from the night. I stay a while away, O night, but I return to you again and love you. Why should I be afraid to trust myself to you? I am not afraid. I have been well brought forward by you. I love the rich running day, but I do not desert her in whom I lay so long. I know not how I came of you, and I know not where I go with you, but I know I came well, and shall go well. I will stop only a time with the night, and rise betimes. I will duly pass the day, O my mother, and duly return to you. Not you will yield forth the dawn again more surely than you will yield forth me again. Not the womb yields the babe in its time more surely than I shall be yielded from you in my time. I love and adore that closing section of The Sleepers, but I just think Walt Whitman is such an incredible poet throughout his work. I encourage you to reacquaint yourself with Walt Whitman if you've not turned to him for a while. Keep the book around, open to various passages of Whitman. I think that Song of Myself has so much wisdom in it, so much cosmic reach. It's both cosmic and earthy at the same time, and that is a great kind of verticality of vision to have, to be able to encompass the body and the soul together at the same time. Thank you so much for joining us this evening for A Gray Barn